Hello, good morning, children. In the previous session, we were discussing the lesson Taro's Reward. Today, let us start from the previous point where we left, right? That is 8th paragraph. First, I will read it. Listen carefully. That afternoon, a neighbor stopped by for a visit. Taro's father politely offered her a cup of the sick. The lady drank it greedily and thanked the old man. Then Taro told her the story of the magic waterfall. Thanking them for the delicious drink, she left in a hurry. By nightfall, she had spread the story throughout the whole village. Now, let us know the meaning of it. That afternoon means the boy had brought the delicious egg from the magic waterfall and he had shared that delicious egg with his parents. He had given to his father, and the old man felt comfortable, and in celebration he danced in the middle of the floor. That was the previous point we discussed. That afternoon a neighbor stopped by for a visit. On the same day, a neighbor visited Taro's house. Taro's father politely offered her a cup of the sick. At that time, Taro's father, the old man, gave a bit of delicious sick to the visitor. That was a lady. The lady drank it greedily. Greedily means expecting more and more, desiring more and more, or wanting more and more. The lady drank it greedily with expectation and thanked the old man. Then Taro told the story of the magic waterfall. The lady drank it and thanked the old man for offering her that delicious shake. Then the boy Taro narrated the entire story which was taken place in the forest, how he had brought the delicious shake from the magic waterfall. Then Taro told her the story of the magic waterfall. Thanking them for the delicious drink, she left in a hurry. Thanking them for the delicious drink, she left in a hurry. She thanked them for sharing that delicious shake and hurried home. By nightfall, she had spread the story throughout the whole village. Nightfall means the time before sunset. Dawn to dusk means morning to evening. Here it is referring dusk, evening time. The time before sunset. Before sunset, she had spread the story throughout the whole village. She had spread that message to all the villages. Before the sunset, the story had narrated to everyone. Everyone had come to know that. Right? Now, next one. That evening, there was a long procession of visitors to the woodcutter's house. Each man heard the story of the waterfall and took a sip of the shake. In less than an hour, the pitcher was empty. That evening, there was a long procession of visitors to the woodcutter's house. On that day, that evening, there was a long procession. On the same day, when the lady had visited Taro's house, on the same day, there was a long procession. Procession means a lineup of crowd, people, of visitors. Visitors, all the villagers had gathered in front of Taro's house. There was a lineup to the woodcutter's house. Each man heard the story of the waterfall. Each man, everyone, each one of them heard the story of the magic waterfall and took a sip of the shake. Took a sip of delicious shake, and in less than an hour the pitcher was empty. Within an hour the container was empty. Everything got over. Now in the next morning Taro started for work even earlier than the morning before. He carried with him the largest pitcher he owned, for he intended first of all to go to the waterfall. When he reached it, he found to his great surprise all his neighbors there. They were carrying pitchers, jars, buckets, anything they could find to hold the magic sack. Then the then one villager knelt and held his mouth under the waterfall to drink. He drank again and again, and then shouted angrily, "Water, nothing but water." Others also tried, but there was no sake, only cold water. Now let us see what is given in the 10th paragraph. Next morning, the day the boy shared that delicious cake and the story of the magic waterfall with the villagers. Very next that day, what happens? Next morning, Taro started for work even earlier than the morning before. He woke up early and started to go to work. He was on the way early, early morning. He was on the way. He carried with him the largest pitcher. On the next day, he had carried the largest pitcher, the largest container he had carried. He owned, for he intended first of all to go to the waterfall. He had planned that. Intended means planned. He had planned that first he wanted to visit the magic waterfall. When he reached it, when he reached at first, there was a surprise. He found, to his great surprise, all his neighbors there. They were carrying pitchers, jars, buckets. To his utter surprise, all the villagers had gone to the forest. All of them were assembled in front of the magic waterfall. It was surprising for him. They were carrying pitchers, jars, buckets, anything they could find to hold the magic sack. Whatever they could find, including pitchers, jars, buckets, these all are containers. They had carried all of them to bring the magic sack from that magic waterfall. Then one villager knelt and held his mouth under the waterfall to drink. Then one of the villagers knelt. Knelt means it is a posture, standing on the knees. He knelt and held his mouth under the waterfall to drink it. He held his mouth under the waterfall. Directly he stretched his head and looked for the delicious egg. He tasted. He knelt and held his mouth under the waterfall to drink. He drank again and then shouted angrily, "Water, nothing but water." He drank it again and again. He verified it, but it was not delicious like sake. It was just a water for him. And he shouted angrily. Then shouted angrily, "Water." It is expression of sudden feeling. Water, nothing but water. Expression of disappointment. Others also tried, but there was no sake. Other villagers also tried. For them it was just cold water. When the boy Taro would bring that, it would give him delicious egg. That is why it was called magic waterfall. But there was no sake, only cold water for the villagers. But for the thoughtful boy Taro, it would give him delicious sake. It was an unexpected help from the God. Right? In this session, we have studied the 8th and 9th and 10th paragraphs. Watch this video carefully and be ready for the conclusion of the story. Thank you. Have a nice day.